very good morning and thank you for waking up to Sunrise at Sea here on CTV. I hope you're having a fantastic morning. My name is Aggie Owase and welcome to our Wellness, Beauty and Lifestyle segment. Today we are going to talk about something that everyone can resonate with out there, and we are talking about coffee. And not just the coffee bean, rather coffee beans or coffee plants, but we are going to take you through the entire process of making coffee up to the final product. But before we get there, I'd like to give you a little bit of information about coffee. Uganda is one of the leading countries in the world when it comes to coffee production. It's number 8 in the world as well as number 2 in Africa. And the regions in Uganda that are leading in coffee production, we are talking of the Rwenzori region, there is the central region as well as the eastern region. Now for so many of you who do not know, who only enjoy the final product, today we are going to give you an insight, and on set I'll be joined by quite a number of people who will take us through the entire process of how coffee is harvested. Before we take you through the process of how that coffee that you enjoy every day is made, because we talked about, we are going to take you through the entire process. I would like some of you, especially those who have grown up in Kampala, I do not know how a coffee plant looks like. You only enjoy the final product, but you have no idea how it looks. So right next to me is a coffee plant, if you haven't had a chance to look at it or to know what it is. And these are the coffee beans that are harvested and taken through the whole process until you get to enjoy that yummy coffee that you love. When the coffee cherries are picked, there's usually 2 available options, and that is sun drying, which everyone in the country mostly uses. But here at Coffee City, their preferred option is taking them to a coffee washer before taking the coffee beans to the roastery. So let's take a stroll through Coffee City as we take you through the process of making that beautiful coffee that you all enjoy. We're still at Coffee City today, and we are taking you through the entire process of how you get to have that beautiful final coffee product. And right around me, as you can see, this is a display. Where they put, I'm looking at coffee beans and coffee seeds as well as coffee machines that they use in the entire coffee process. But right now we are headed to the roastery where the coffee that has been harvested is taken, to take it through the process before it comes to grinding and actually getting the final product that you love, that coffee that you love. So let's take a stroll to where the roastery is. We are still here at Coffee City, and today we are taking you through that entire process of making that beautiful coffee that you love. As you can see, there is a coffee roaster here. It's very hot in here, but it's manageable heat. I do not know how they do it, but it's manageable. But joining me on set today is Alan Opio, who is the master roaster, and will be taking us through the entire process of how coffee is roasted before it's taken to the grinder and finally the packaging part of it. Good morning, Alan.
Oh, good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome.
Yes, thanks for joining us on Sunrise at Sea today.
Yes.
Now, before you take us through the process of how the coffee is roasted, I'm seeing quite a number of products here. I'd like you to tell us which is which. Is it the processed coffee? Is it the already done product? Which is which?
All right, thank you very much. Once again, my name is Opio Alan, and here I work as a master roaster, master barista, and an engineer. Briefly, because of time, I'm going to take you through the whole process of the coffee value chain, how it happens before you test or before you take that very nice cup of cappuccino or black coffee or latte, depending on what you like most. Now, I just imagine inside your farm that your coffee is very ready and you have the red cherry. From that point, you assume that the coffee is ready for harvest.
Yes.
The first process, there at that time you determine where your coffee, how you want it to be. You can either like it to go through for a natural processed coffee or a washed natural process. Those are the 2 major types of coffee. So if you wanted to go for a natural processed type of coffee, this is how it looks like. So you get your coffee from the garden, the red cherry, you put it on sunshine. Of course, not on the ground, but you put it on the what you call it stand out. So it will dry and it will come out to this. Back then you used to call it chivoko, and you know that's why you call it chivoko. Remember the main regime what used to have. People used to dig cane so they can produce such a thing. Yeah?
Yes.
So this is what we call the dry pods. Yeah? Then from after the dry pods, you can either determine to take your coffee through the wash process. And for the wash process, it's a different case. When you get your coffee to the garden, this is what it looks like.
How is it?
Now, for us to get this is what you call the parchment. We take our coffee to a washing station. Like I said, from the red cherry, take it to the washing station, you get this. Then from this stage, you take it to the huller that removes this outermost shell, and then you shall get what we call the grain bean. Then from this level, that's where my job as a POR and as a master roaster starts from, because at this point we assume that the bean is ready to roast. Here I assume that the bean is already graded. Grading means you sort the coffee according to weight, the size, and then we assume that there is no any other moisture content in it. Or we assume that the moisture content in the water is allowable and acceptable for roasting.
Okay.
And this is where the job of the roaster starts from.
Okay.
Yes. This is a coffee roaster. It uses 70% gas and then the other 30 is electricity. So the major roasting happens with gas. So for the part of the roaster, this main part, this is our hopper where we pour the green beans out. Let me ask my colleague Orono, Emmanuel, to pour in the green beans, because this is where we pour the green beans. So
Okay.
as we pour in the green beans here into the hopper, they are stuck here. They don't go through up to the main roasting chamber or the drum. This is where the real roasting happens from, where you're seeing this through. Yeah? So when you pour the beans, they will stop here. Yeah? We don't just allow them to go inside the drum. There's some temperature that you have to pass through. Yeah?
Okay.
So you may look here and you see we are 260.
Yes, I can say 200.
The acceptable temperature for the roasting is supposed to be at least 230, which is a drop in
230.
temperature.
So why is it 207?
Right now it's 207 because already we have a bunch running, as you can see.
Oh,
there's some bunch that you poured in
yes,
before that's
yes.
almost moving out.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay?
Yes.
So once it reaches the acceptable roast profile, that's
Yes.
when you're going to remove it. So
Okay.
back here, as I was explaining, this is our hooper, this is the main drum.
Yeah.
So I assume that there's nothing inside here. When there is nothing, we allow it to heat up to 230 degrees, and then we allow the bean, or we open the valve for the beans to enter inside the main drum, and then we can be able
To adjust on the temperature.
Yes, some people prefer dark roasted coffee because of taste.
Oh.
Yes, coffee has its natural bitterness, but there's some bitterness that exceeds the other. Yeah?
Yes.
So some people, some like Italians, some part of Europe, people prefer dark roasted coffee.
Okay.
As I can talk right now, my coffee is almost ready to be dropped out. So I wanted it to be a medium roast profile. As you can see, this is a medium
it
roast
hot?
profile. It's a bit hot.
It's
be
hot.
careful.
I won't touch it. I won't touch it.
So since my coffee is ready, you're going to allow me to drop it out. Yeah? So I turn on the cooling fan. So this is the medium roasted coffee. And I can tell you right now my coffee is ready. So it's ready to be dropped out. Yeah? So I just turn on the cooling chamber and the mixer so that I want, the reason why I tell you I want to stop the coffee from further roasting. Okay? Then after I'll drop it out.
Ooh. That looks good. Super hot, but it looks good.
So
It
at
does
this
look
point,
good.
you see that smokiness? The smoke,
Yes.
the smoke is all pulled out from our cooling chamber and taken
Okay.
out to the chimney.
Yes.
And at this point, we don't want the coffee to continue roasting. So the fan that only pulls out and pushes air to stop the coffee from further roasting.
Okay, now this one that's coming out, but I understand you've already put some up.
Yes.
So how is it also going down as this one is coming up, or you
No,
let it happen later when this is done?
We have a valve here that prevents it from sloping inside the drum.
Okay.
Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Yes, so there is a valve here that's always open and then closed. Right now it's closed, so it's only the other part by that's moving out. The only forward is still in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something else I would want to know, how long does it take? How long does the roasting process take? Is it an hour? Is it 30 minutes?
Okay. Like I
Is it a
said,
lengthy process?
yes, like I said, according to the roast profile,
Yes.
some people want it darker,
Yes.
others want it medium, others want it light.
Okay.
So the darker the roast, the more time it takes. But most time it takes between 15 to 20 seconds.
Ah, I almost thought you were going to say hours.
No,
I almost
15 to
thought you were
20
going to say, oh,
minutes, yes.
that's a short time.
Yeah, so we can close. Yes, hope you remember my other bunch.
Yes,
that I
there is
poured.
another bunch that's up
Yes.
there.
So I turn on my flame.
Yeah, I can see it rolling in.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to wait for my temperature to raise up to 230,
Okay.
which is almost. And then I'll open my valve to allow
And then
the
it
coffee
comes in.
to
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. It's almost
It has dropped by one. Why? Does it drop sometimes?
because its temperature it goes up, down, down.
Oh, yeah, we're already at 230.
Yes.
So we
It's
can
already
drop
230.
our coffee.
Then I can drop in my coffee as you can see.
Yeah.
So the green bean I poured in the hopper, now that we're dropping out now,
Yes.
inside the drum. Like I said, the real roasting always happens in the drum.
In the drum, yes. You talked about it uses a certain percentage electricity and the other one gas.
Yes.
So when does the gas come in? What are we using now? Are we using electricity or are we using gas?
Well, right now we're using both electricity and gas.
Gas.
For the electrical part, are you seeing like this motor? There's a motor
Yes.
under here. The
Yes.
movement happens by the motor, and the motor needs electricity.
Electricity, yes.
But the real coffee roasting happens using gas. So it is the gas that roasts the coffee, as you can come and see.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I can see it. You can't see it, but I'm seeing for you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So our coffee is now in,
Yes.
and has it started roasting already?
Yes, they are started. So the darker the roast, of course, the bitter the coffee.
Which is the good one?
The good one to me,
Yes.
according to the experience I've had with Ugandans and some other people in the world, medium roast.
Medium roast. It's the preferred?
It's the preferred because in Uganda here, very few people have access to the machines. And for
Yes.
those espresso machines, you need a slightly darker roasted coffee.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
since we don't have those machines and we brew our coffee locally at home, we
Yes.
need slightly lighter roast, which is either medium or medium dark roast.
Okay. How much coffee do you roast in a day?
Probably in a month, maybe.
In a month?
In a month, we roast about 2 tons.
Oh, okay.
So some can take like 2 days roasting, but when you roast,
Yeah.
you can roast like 500 kilograms, a ton.
Okay, well that is Alan Opio, and he's the master roaster. That is what he's saying here at Coffee City. And we are done. We just got done with our coffee roasting process, and now we are headed on the other end where we'll see how coffee is grinded up to when it's packaged. We are at Coffee City and our roasted coffee is finally here, and now we are going to go through the process of how it's grinded and how it's finally packaged. And definitely joining me on set is the master roaster. I called him master grinder earlier, but it's master roaster, and his name is Alan. So Alan, I saw you doing, some mixing. What was this that we were doing here?
Well, thank you very much. Let me talk about the mixing. Yeah?
Yes.
Before we mix the coffee, after the roaster we have seen, we first allow the coffee to first degas. Degassing means it's like someone being thrown in the air. You reach a point and you disorganize. So the coffee was being thrown inside the drum.
Yes.
So right now it's disorganized.
Yes.
So we first allow the coffee to settle and degas, remove those excess gases.
Yes.
So once all that degassing process is done, which is about 8 to 10 hours, we bring it inside this place and then we start the mixing. The mixing, we call it, the technical word is blending.
Blending, yes.
So blending is like mixing. You can mix coffee with origin, depending on origin. For example, you can mix coffee from Masaka. and
With
coffee
one from
Ghana.
Kasese.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, there you have it. Finally, our coffee product is ready. Thank you for joining us and being part of the whole process. From the picking of the cherries, I showed you how the cherries are picked, to where we roasted the coffee, and now finally we went to grinding the coffee, and the coffee is going to be packaged very well where it will be sold. You do that as well.
Yes.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Alan Opio, and that is our master roaster here at Coffee City. Well, don't go anywhere. Sunrise at Sea continues. Don't blink.